Hi everyone, my name is Garnette O'Connell. My adventures that happen, I finally know someone who can get those into books. Her name is Allison. I've always wanted to get my adventures written in books, and now that I know Allison, she can do that for me. She's going to be doing a book reading. It's part of a series called The Adventures of a Mermaid, and the book she's reading this time is called The Rat Prophecy. This is part 6. Hi everyone, I am the Esperanza 243. Welcome to The Rat Prophecy. I am so psyched that we are reading this again. It feels like it's been forever, but it's only been 2 weeks. And as I keep saying, I'm going to be doing this every other week, except for the last official week of October. That is going to be the Halloween week for me, and that is going to be the week that I will be reading certain parts of Not a Family Trait. Not a Family Trait, again, is inspired by the show Ghost Whisperer. I explained this in my last video. I just want to explain it one more time. Well, not one more time. I'm going to be saying this in every single video up until the Halloween week. But Not a Family Trait is inspired by the show Ghost Whisperer. And it's about this little girl that gains the ability to communicate with ghosts and see the ghosts. And so what I'm going to be doing for that particular week, I am going to be reading the aspects where she would consider it really scary for her, not the reader's perspective, but the character's perspective. Because otherwise, it's not so much as a scary, not scary. It's not going to be as much of a Halloween reading unless I did it that way. Because if I did it just from the reader's perspective, I'd just be choosing the parts that I think are scary. That's not going to work. That won't work. I need to choose from the character's perspective. If you get my meaning. Alright, so before I start talking about the previous reading of The Rat Prophecy, I want to explain something of what might happen in the video. Again, I actually have no idea how much battery life there is in my camcorder, so if it suddenly cuts off and it's much darker in later of the video, it's because my battery died. I honestly don't know how much battery is left of the camcorder, so I do apologize if at all during the video the background lighting is just completely dark. Or at least darker than usual. Because normally I try to record early in the day so that I can get as much natural lighting as possible. Yes, more behind the scenes stuff. Okay, sorry. Let's get to the book. Or the recap of the previous video. Because as I said earlier, I'm going to be switching books every other week. This week, The Rat Prophecy. Next week, Ashlyn's Dream Come True, which is the last video of Ashlyn's Dream Come True. Oh my gosh. Anyways, so what happened in the previous reading of The Rat Prophecy, Garnette was introducing Ariel to her family as well as Darla the Psychic. After they leave Darla the Psychic, Ariel and Garnette discuss of the seaweed tea, which is used for tea reading. A lot of times it is. She introduces Ariel to her boyfriend, or no, not her boyfriend, Ezra, this really great guy that she super likes, who happens to be her uncle's advisor, the king. The king is her uncle. Just to remind you guys, if you have not watched or listened to the first book, which is Aquatica, she and Ariel talk to Uncle Adelaide, the king, to get some help on what's going on, what's the situation on land, because there's this guy named Keaton, Ariel's boss, who has her mermaid object. And I actually explain in the book what that object does. Originally, every mermaid or merman has an individual object. Each object possesses a power that represents either who he or she is, or the talents the merperson was born with. And because King Adelaide figured that Garnette is the proper age, he figured he might as well give her an object, which was supposed to belong to Karena, her ancestor, which is incredible. Considering Karena's never used it, really, because she's already dead, Garnette might as well inherit that object. And it's a really beautiful locket. I should have explained what it looked like, but I don't think I ever did. But after that, or at least while that's happening, Ariel bumps into Miss Darla in the city, and she ends up talking to her. And that's actually basically where we stopped. So I'm going to go ahead and start reading from there. Well, up till I was about 5, it's all a bit hazy. I became an orphan at that age. She cocked her head, trying to recall her childhood. I wish I could remember. Sometimes you have to leave the past behind you, dear. I know, she said quietly. But sometimes I wonder if I should know. I can't seem to remember my parents at all. Ariel then realized this was a great time to bring in what Garnette told her. That reminds me. Garnette told me that your seaweed tea is also used for tea readings. Is that true? Yes, it's quite true. Some people come to me for help. Seaweed tea lets me read either their past or future. Sometimes I get both. Did you by chance read my tea after I left? I did, actually. You have an interesting story. What did you see? She asked worriedly. You, dear Ariel, have a troubled past that affected you. Quite the talented and wonderful woman you are, and you're not a descendant of a merperson. Yep, that's pretty much true. She sighed, remembering another thing Garnette told her. And that reminds me of something. Yes? She let her continue. Garnette has this theory about the enchanted swirls at your home. She paused to think about it more. I'd like to test it. Wait, what? Miss Darla widened her eyes in shock. Miss Ariel, no one has ever volunteered to look at those swirls. If you face them, there's no telling what fear you'll go through. Are you sure you want to do this? Ariel bit her lip. No, but I don't know if I can wait. I'm not one to wait and see. She gulped. I'm tired of what's happening at my job. It has to stop. If you insist, then, follow me, Miss Ariel. She followed Miss Darla to her cove. She prepared a seat for Ariel and even made a snack. Now be careful when you dream. It's one thing to unintentionally fall asleep to these swirls, but to stare at them on purpose. She paused. Who knows what you'll be able to do or see? Ariel sighed as she glanced around. She saw that iridescent swirls covered every inch of the walls. She smiled faintly. With a sigh, her eyes drooped. Her head slowly lowered. Ariel swallowed before lying down. As her mind drifted off, she closed her eyes. Miss Darla was right. Anything could happen. Normally, when someone falls asleep to the swirls, the person is placed in an environment to deal with her fear. That didn't happen for Ariel. The one fear she witnessed wasn't quite how she became a mermaid, or watching Keaton control her. It happened to be something else, something she didn't expect at all. She opened her eyes. She found she wasn't in the cove anymore, but in a dream. Ariel tried to get up. She couldn't. She couldn't move, and she was so tired. Ariel closed her eyes again, but then she heard voices. As best as she could, she listened to them. It sounded like a man and woman arguing. "We can't keep her, Kendra." "But she has no place to go. She was walking aimlessly in that junkyard. We have no idea how to look for her parents." "Kendra, we can't," he hissed. "Lee, I'm not letting her out there for her to fend for herself." "I know that. It's just..." He paused. "What if her parents come? Before we can help her? Seriously, sweetheart, foster care isn't going to help."
"Then let's adopt her. Give her a home."
"Kendra!"
"What?"
She cleared her throat.
"She hasn't said a word. She's skinny as a skeleton. Come on, Lee. She needs a home."
The cry wakened little Ariel in her bed. Ariel nearly panicked when her body squirmed and got out of bed. The girl looked in a mirror that happened to be on a desk. Ariel saw that the girl's reflection was her own. She had to be at least 6 years old. Young Ariel walked to the door and listened in. "All right, fine. Perhaps we could adopt her instead of sending her to foster care. Who knows what they'll do? It's not exactly the right place for her."
"Adopting is much better, but we still need a name."
"We'll figure it out, honey," he whispered. He continued talking in a hushed tone. "But we have to talk to your parents. They expect us to have a child of their bloodline. We can't let them down."
"Then we have to do research. Perhaps there's a..."
Her voice trailed off as they walked further into the house. The young girl glanced around hurriedly. She went to a window and tried to open it. The window was locked. She didn't know how to open it. Little Ariel whimpered. She cowered between the bed and the wall. Without any warning, Ariel appeared in a car. She tried glancing around, but yet again, she couldn't move. She was using the eyes of her 6-year-old self once more. She could see the back heads of her adopted parents. The mother had been driving as they argued again. Ariel eyed the trees they passed. So many of them. "Are you sure she'll get it?"
"Will you cut it out, Lee?"
she hissed.
"Mom said this type of thing doesn't always work for everyone. Just remember, though, your parents hardly helped."
"Of course they hardly helped, Kendra," he muttered harshly. "They've been disappointed with me since I turned 14. I told you that. They didn't like I never turned into the fudging figure our ancestors were. Will you give them a break?" Little Ariel started scratching her legs. She whimpered as everything in her legs felt tingly and itchy. She unknowingly crossed her legs.
"It has to happen soon,"
her adopted mother said impatiently.
"It's already been a week. She hasn't even let go of the shell."
"'Cause you told her to never lose it. You shouldn't have said that so harshly."
"Kendra?"
Little Ariel whined. Lee looked behind him. His eyes widened when he saw she wasn't wearing a shirt. His mouth dropped. "Kendra, it's working," he whispered.
"What? Now?"
She turned her head to look. She gasped when she saw little Ariel's hair longer than it was before. Lee looked back. His eyes widened. "Kendra, look out!" Kendra moved to look at the road. She swallowed her gasp as she quickly moved the steering wheel. Their car swerved in different directions as they passed cars about to hit them. They all screamed when a semi-truck drove toward them. Kendra turned the steering wheel again. She pressed hard on the brake. Their car turned in circles before the car smashed into a tree. Kendra's chest banged against a tightened seatbelt, causing her to push her head back. Lee's head hit the side window. Airbags popped out, but it didn't help. They were dead. Little Ariel panicked.
"Kendra? Lee?"
She unbuckled her seatbelt to rush to them. She pushed Kendra back and forth.
Kendra, are you there?
Ariel looked at Lee.
Come on, wake up!
The Ariel, watching all of it, became scared. She couldn't believe that's how they died. They were watching the side effects of a spell they cast on her. She caused the accident. She didn't want to believe it. Little Ariel pushed open a side door and got out. She ran away from the car crash. People around looked bewildered at such a distraught mess of cars. No one knew what happened to her after that. As her eyes opened wide, she gasped. Ariel breathed heavily. Her heart thumped harder as her pulse raced. She glanced around to see she was back in Darla's cove. Groaning shakily, she placed a hand on her forehead. Careful, deep breaths. Take deep breaths, Ariel, Darla whispered. Ariel glanced at her. She sighed, taking a slow, heavy, deep breath.
I did it,
she said sadly.
I caused them to crash.
She gulped. Tears floated off her cheeks.
They crashed because of me. What happened? What did you see?
Ariel turned toward her. It was Garnette.
Garnette, what are you doing here? I came to ask Darla something. She told me what happened.
What did you see? Darla asked. Ariel put her hands up for a moment. She closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and let it out. She gulped before opening her eyes.
My parents, they found me on the streets and adopted me.
Ariel paused.
And I saw the crash. They used a spell from Grandma to turn me into a mermaid. I was having side effects from the spell. She shook her head. I caused them to crash. They looked at me instead of the road.
She gulped once more.
No wonder I couldn't remember anything. I blocked it all out. Ariel?
Garnette sounded nervous. Her friend looked at her.
I don't mean to put any pressure, but if you want to go to the mainland before sunset, we gotta go now.
The mainland? She scoffed.
Oh, why? I'm so tired of sleeping in tubs and public pools. I just want to stay here.
I wouldn't mind the company, Darla said, turning to Garnette. And that is where I'm going to stop. My gosh, that was such a hard one to read. It's really, when it comes to reading my books, I always have a hard time doing the theatrics of it. Not just, reading the scenery parts and the voicing and the singing and all that jazz. I mean, that's what I love. That's why I'm doing these book readings, because I want to show you guys how theatric I am and how serious I am of wanting these books to be either on screen or on stage. I mean, these books, a lot of these books that I've written, they should be out there, and they should be out there, seriously. They need to be in published books, they need to be on stage, they need to be on movie screen, on TV screen. Because when I write my books, I imagine them playing in my head. I can actually literally see, like, these scenes playing out as an actual TV show or a film. It's incredible, and I always have a hard time trying to put all those details, all those itty bitty little details that are so important. It's so hard to put those into books, because I don't know what parts of them are actually necessary to continue with the book. To continue with the book series, or just like a short story. Like, I've actually tried to write a short story, and it's nigh impossible for me, because I like complications, I like twists, I like drama, I like mystery, I like romance, I like everything. Because seriously, guys, I haven't counted, I literally have not counted yet, but I've written so many adult books. And when I mean adult books, I mean books that would be rated R for me to put on my YouTube channel. I would not be able to get any money off those on YouTube. Just because they're that adult. Yikes. Wow. Alright, so I'm actually really looking forward. I really do hope you guys like what's going on in the book so far for the Rap Prophecy. I was actually debating on whether to add one more page. Originally, I was going to be reading another page, but what goes on in that page is a lot more stuff, a lot more action. Well, not action, but like a lot more drama, I should say. A lot more drama, and I think there's enough drama as it is, as far as Ariel's little dream adventure. Oh my gosh, what did you guys think? What did you guys think of that dream, that adventure of her being in the past? I mean, I literally could not decide like what to do with it. And here's the thing though, like when I was writing the book, when I was writing that scene, like I couldn't figure out how to do it. But then I looked at the oh wait, no, that book hadn't been written yet. But I guess when I was working on that scene, I thought perhaps it would be best if I wrote the dream as a dream. Because, you know, a lot of dreams that I have, I'm always jumping around different places. Like, I'll be watching like these people that I have no idea who they are. I'll be watching them doing something, and the next second I'm like, wait, where am I? What's going on? Am I in this dream now? It's interesting. It's interesting, that's for sure. But, man, I am loving this book, guys. I hope you are too. Oh my gosh. I cannot imagine what you guys are going through watching this. I love this book. I love almost all the books that I've written. There are actually a couple of books that I actually do not like. And those particular books I actually don't know if I'm going to publish. I do know there are 2 books for certain that I will not publish. One is because I used certain things from a friend's book at the time that I was writing. I still want to keep them in. I've even talked about it with one of my sisters. Oh my gosh, guys. Oh my gosh, I didn't tell you guys. Okay, so the day I'm recording this is on a Sunday. The day my middle sister had her baby shower. Oh my gosh, it was incredible. So many people came, and we had 2 little baby shower games that were super fun. One of them was that we had to wear like clothing pins. You know, the little 2 pieces of wood wrapped in metal to keep your clothes on a clothing line, you know. The olden days before there was dryers. And the point of the game was that you cannot say the word baby. You have to use like other words or whatever. And if you ever say the word, whoever catches you saying that word, they get your pin. And the person at the end of the game with the most pins, they win a prize. And so there were 2 people that won first prize and second prize. First place and second place, sorry. And the other game was figuring out how much toilet paper would wrap around my sister's baby stomach. Oh, man. It was a tie. There was a tie, so we had to figure out what the tiebreaker would be. And it would be the person who drove the farthest. Of course, I'm not included because the place is actually just a small distance away from here. Alright, everyone. I do believe that is it. I'm having way too much fun with this. I hope you all have a great morning, afternoon, evening, or night, wherever you are in the world. I am the Esperanza 2 for 3. Saying goodbye. I am signing out.